Alrighty, well, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I'm so excited to be with you today, sharing this information to you. So if you've been invited onto this call, it's hopefully because you've been told to come and have a listen at a technology that is truly poised to revolutionize exactly how we look at health science, how we look at sports and recovery, how we look at preventative medicine, how we look at beauty and the anti-aging industry, and even how we look at longevity and life expansion. The technology I'll be discussing tonight is not a cure or a treatment or should be used to diagnose, but what it is, it's an incredible tool that your body is currently already using. You just may not have enough of it. And that is possibly why you may have a few little issues in the body. So if you're here because you're struggling with your health, you're in the right place. If you're here because you've got good health but you want to protect it, you're in the right place. If you're here because you want your body to perform at a much higher level, this information is for you. And finally, the other category, we connect with entrepreneurs all around the world constantly, because every time there is a significant market shift, people from all around the world flock really to see if they can be part of it. For example, when transportation changes, when technology changed, people with a business sense come in and see if they can participate in the market shift. So you may be looking at this commercially, and we welcome you also because we understand that we need you to bring this technology and this breakthrough to more people. So I will be screen sharing in a moment. I just wanted to welcome you and invite you to sit back. If this information, I'm going to whip through some science pretty quickly and also through some things that I hope are new and exciting and mind-opening, but I will be able to take some questions right at the end, so feel free to write them on the chat box. Alrighty. So the company that brings us this technology is called the ASEA company. And they are based in Utah over in the US, and we're very fortunate about what they have put together. What they've given us is a technology that is 10 to 15 years ahead of its time. It is absolutely a new category of science, and for that reason, it's heavily patented and unique. So what you see inside these bottles, what you're about to see inside these bottles, is not present anywhere in the world except in your bodies and right here. In these two technologies. What we have inside this bottle has won a Nobel Prize. So the molecule itself, when it was first found, the researchers were given a Nobel Prize for medicine. And what's most exciting about this is that it is native to the body, and that's the reason why it has zero toxicity and is so incredibly powerful. Now, I didn't hear about this technology through a presentation or through any research. I certainly was just busy going about my life when I heard that a dear friend of mine, Dan Doyle, had unfortunately fallen ill to a condition of rapidly dividing cells in his body. And his struggle was real. Now, Dan, if you know him, is larger than life, successful businessman, had been an athlete previously. So, I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, this guy is healthy, he's going to beat this. Now, unfortunately, what we saw over the next few years is that his body just couldn't handle this terrible disease that was running rampant. And even though he did everything right, and he did 2 years of traditional treatment that is required, his hair fell out, everything, he followed all the instructions. He went through hell and back. Our friend looked like this. He was stuck in a hospital and he wasn't getting any better. In fact, it was October, I believe, when his doctor said, Dan, we can't do anything else for you. You need to go home and be with your wife, and basically just let time take its course. It's absolutely devastating every time I think about this. Honestly, it moves me because I remember seeing Dan at the Gold Coast and giving him a hug. I hadn't seen him in a while, and I had been so taken back. And when you're really taken back, you haven't seen somebody deteriorate so quickly. I put my arms around him and he felt like a bag of coat hangers. He was just a shadow of himself. Now, fortunately, thanks to a dear friend of ours, Bart Cotter, he received a phone call and it went a little something like, Dan, you need to get over to the US. There's a molecule that apparently triggers healing in the body. I don't know much more about it, but I think you need to find out. This could be your chance, mate. So Dan and also Malcolm, my ex-husband, got on a plane. They were over there. They met with the team. They became comfortable that this truly was a breakthrough. And it's really wonderful to report that what we saw over the next few months was the total return of this man's health. Now, I had trained as a physiotherapist. I also studied science at university. And okay, I was no longer in the health industry, but I knew enough about the body to really kind of feel puzzled by Dan's recovery. I just couldn't believe that he'd had such a significant transformation. And this was after everyone had given up on him. It got my attention. It got my attention so much that I really wanted to ask the question, what is a redox signaling molecule? You know, I'd seen it work in Dan. By this stage, I was using it. I had tried it on my son, who'd had significant improvements to a skin condition we had not been able to get rid of. I had seen it start to work wonders in my father, his recovery after a cardiovascular incident. I could see this working, and yet I didn't know what it was. Well, when I went digging into redox biochemistry to try and answer this question, what is a redox signaling molecule? My first shock was how much information was out there. This absolutely was a hot zone for the medical, the scientific community, and I just couldn't believe that the public didn't know about it. You know, that's what we're doing something about this tonight. Now, it's very important to be clear. A redox molecule is not, it's not a vitamin, a mineral, an antioxidant, a juice, or a water. There are so many awesome products on the marketplace, and these are all tools that your body uses. They're tools your body needs to build new little cells constantly. But a redox molecule is outside of this. So when you walk into a health food shop and you see shelves filled with stuff, they do not have what we're talking about tonight. As I said, redox only exists in your body and now inside this amazing, these amazing products. So if a redox molecule is not a health product like what we know already, what is it? Well, let me explain it to you in these very 5 simple points. Okay, I promise you I'm not going to drown you out with science. That's not my bag. But the first thing is that we are made of cells. So we're just a big bag of cells. If you, wherever you're sitting right now, look at your hands, and if you could just look at them closely, that you would be looking at a surface of cells. If you clap your hands like this and you feel that stinging, that's your cells getting damaged. Every action we take constantly affects our cells. And so because of the way we live, not all cells are healthy all the time. By that, I don't mean that you need to be sick. Cells are constantly, just by their natural process, they're constantly doing this regenerating, protecting, repairing, and replacement process. It's an incredible orchestra. Our body's absolutely amazing. As I said, you don't have to be sick for these things to be happening. This is the normal turnover of the body. Much like if you had a house and you need to constantly maintain it. You need to sweep the floors. You need to clear the gutters. The body is doing that all the time. Now, we know and understand this process quite well. It's been studied, you know, all around the world. What we didn't exactly know was how it was happening, especially why sometimes the repair process works and why other times it doesn't. I mean, this is a really important question, isn't it? Because we're seeing so many people get sick and we want to know the answer why. So we didn't know how this repair process was happening, but these 3 handsome guys in Italy, 3 Italian researchers in 1998 discovered the redox signaling molecule. They discovered a little molecule in heart tissue, and they realized that it was responsible for every time a cell got repaired. So it's kind of like calling in the builder who comes and does the repair work on your house. This is truly a very recent discovery. I think it's actually quite deceptive that we have these pictures in black and white because, you know, I'm a 90s baby. This was just the other day. This is extremely recent and very exciting. So I'm actually not a 90s baby. I'm from 1979. There we go. So, but I grew up in the 90s. And so I feel that this is just brand new. This is absolutely breakthrough. So our levels of redox are declining. We discovered the molecule that is responsible for healing, and we simultaneously realize, thanks through the work of great scientific brains such as Dr. James Watson, the father of the DNA discovery of double helix, who basically told us had a look at the body and said, guys, yes, this molecule is incredible. Yes, it's responsible for the healing processes of the body. But here's the bad news. Our levels of this molecule are declining. So, for example, if you've got a baby, you see their little hands, they scratch themselves, they're healed almost the next day. But if you have an 85-year-old who falls over and has a bruise or a cut, it can take weeks, even months. So we know that this is a natural process of aging. Much like a house, with time, it's going to need repair. Now, what makes this process even more, what makes the situation even more precarious is that our environment is causing us to lose our levels of redox, to lose our mitochondrial function even faster. So if this is the molecule that we need for this constant ongoing repair, unfortunately, our bodies are needing so much more constant ongoing repair because of everything we breathe, we touch, even the waves of the electricity, what do they call it? The Wi-Fi is affecting us, the telephones. If you've got a 5-year-old, that child on an average diet has consumed as much sugar as your grandparent did. By the age that they're 5. If you go out and breathe the air in a city, 15 minutes of breathing in is the equivalent of what we would have been breathing in a whole lifetime 100 years ago. So why is this, what is the result of all this toxicity? Well, you've only got to look around. I don't have to show you these statistics. I'm certain that every single one of us on this call, unfortunately, knows somebody who's sick, knows somebody with cancer, with a heart problem, with a respiratory thing, with an allergy, a child with autism, a person with Parkinson's, someone with arthritis. It is so sad, but it's true and it's happening. We just cannot stick our heads in the sand. The world that we live in is highly toxic, and there is a price that we have to pay for that. And that is that we need to look after our bodies better. We need to equip our bodies better and give it better tools to cope if we don't want to become a statistic. So again, this is highly researched. If you want to look into the information here, please go to things like PubMed or some of the scientific databases to look at what redox is and how much we know about it already. So this is not something invented by the ASEA company. They're just the brand. Redox is a molecule in your body well understood by the scientific community, known to have links with inflammatory disorders. People are exploring the therapeutic opportunities in so many conditions. You look at these articles and you will see that redox is a hotspot of interest for the future, absolutely set to be one of the sciences that shapes the coming years. So we're looking at all sorts of conditions from Parkinson's to cancer. These are studies that are out there. So make sure that when you do go digging on the internet, you go to legitimate research-based information to understand how redox is working. Now, we already know that redox is working in the body, but the ASEA company are the first and only who decided to make it and stabilize it outside the body. It's really simple logic. We have 6 kids, and I think they follow this logic really easily. If we don't have enough of this molecule, and we know that we need more to stay healthy, why don't we make some? That is really the whole kind of scientific logic behind the ASEA breakthrough. We know we need more redox. We know that we're not making enough. We know that that's leading to disease. So the ASEA company took 17 years and millions of dollars and the efforts of an atomic medical physicist, Dr. Gary Samuelson, to do this absolute breakthrough and stabilize the very first redox molecule outside the body. Well, it's super exciting. Why is it exciting? Because now for the first time, we are no longer just at the mercy of symptoms. We now, for the very first time, can get straight to the nitty-gritty. We can get straight to the cause. So when something is wrong in the body, when someone is struggling with something, it doesn't really matter what the diagnostics are. If you're not well, somewhere in the body, you've got cells that aren't doing their job. And they're probably not doing their job because of the environment or because of genetics that are no longer signaling, or whatever the reasons be, they no longer matter. If we can get in there and fix those cells, we can alleviate the symptoms. I often see clients come to us that have been basically through a whole lot of, I call it dartboard medicine, where basically it's like, try this tablet, try this one. Well, maybe with this, maybe if you put this herb in there. And it's just basically just this kind of guesswork. Let's throw some darts at your body and see what happens. My own dad, he was suffering post his cardiovascular incident. He was taking about 12 different tablets daily. And you know, the sad thing is that none of them were actually making him better. None of them were actually fixing the problem. All that they were doing was masking the symptoms. Now, if I have a fire in this house and one of my kids comes running in and says, Mum, there's a fire in my bedroom, I wouldn't just tell him to close the door, because we will soon have a house engulfed with fire. But that is essentially how we're treating so many diseases. We say, hey, my body's screaming. Symptoms are just the alarm bells of the body. My body's screaming. I have a pain. I have a headache. I have something coming up on my skin. And we go, cover it up, it'll be okay. And the statistics tell us it is not okay. And that is why we are turning to this technology to restore the balance in the body, because the body has the answers. It's quite amazing, when I look at scientific, medical research, and we're looking for cures, we're looking for ways to treat disease, and we're searching in the bottom of the sea and at the top of mountains and in labs, and yet most of the answers already lie within the body. Our body's an incredible machine. It can already do the repair processes necessary, even to tackle a cell that's malignant. However, we need the right tools. Now, when you start signaling, when your cells start talking to each other, you see this beautiful response by the body. ASEA Redox, as you can see in this screen, has been tested and shown to trigger genetic expression across the immune system, the inflammatory response, help with cardiovascular health, again at the genetic level, gut health, hormonal balance, protect us against free radicals. It's been shown to absolutely zap bacteria and viruses. I can attest to that. Boys are basically just a big giant germ farm, and we've constantly got cuts and bruises and infections, and this technology has replaced a whole medicine cupboard for us. ASEA Redox has been shown to increase the levels of glutathione in the body by 500 to 800%. Now, if you don't know, if you haven't heard the word antioxidant, it's an absolute buzzword for good reason. Antioxidant is the little fellow that goes around and does all the repair work. Suddenly, when your body starts sending signals for help, your body can make more antioxidants and send that help. So that's been measured. We know that this technology promotes cell communication. In athletes, it's been shown to increase endurance, power, VO2 max, recovery. Now, I don't know about you, but I work pretty hard. I've got kids and travel and so much stuff happening. I may not be an athlete, but by golly, I can do with more endurance, more power, and it certainly is not something that this technology, I cannot do without it anymore. With the mental clarity, it gives me the energy and the resilience every day. But most exciting of all, this product is completely native to the body. It has zero toxicity. That's really important to my family. I'm really cautious what the kids eat, what they put in their bodies. I don't want to add to the toxicity. I'm so glad this product does all of this and causes no problems in the body at all. The product also comes in a gel. So it's really exciting because we can use the drink to get healing happening from the inside out. And we can use the gel to help with our body from the outside in. Obviously, they've done testing. You can see the numbers there. I'm not going to read through them on things like wrinkles, elasticity, hydration. It's interesting. The aging process really is just an accumulation of damage that isn't repaired. So it's like a house. If we just let it carry on, well, things would just fall apart. Well, the body kind of starts to do that. When we bring Redox to the equation, we bring some workers in to start doing those repair jobs. Now, it is important to note that for some people who are very, very sick, they may have a bit of a dip in their health before they see an improvement. By that, I want to explain. Sometimes when your body's had no resources, for a few days you may experience, once you've had redox, for a few days you may experience a aha for the body, which is a healing reaction. You may experience a few little symptoms of detox, which is the body getting rid of that toxicity, and it's the body moving forward with the healing process. I think that's so exciting because when I think of toxicity, I really prefer that it's out than in. So I personally don't mind a little bit of, I get excited actually when I see in people a little bit of that cleansing process at the beginning. And the results, well, let's look at some photos. So obviously it's very easy to put pictures up of skin as opposed to, say, being able to show you a liver or a lung. But remember, this same molecule is the active ingredient in both the gel and the drink. So the healing you can see here on the surface is what's happening on the inside. You can see the elasticity returning when we make new cells. You can see wrinkles disappearing. You can see scarring fading. You can see inflammation reducing. You can see youth returning. I love this image because you can see in this lovely lady of 85 years old that after having used the molecules on her hands for 4 weeks, you see fresh new skin. You see cell regeneration. Now, if you're sitting here and you've got some problems on the inside, what's exciting is that this regeneration can happen internally as well. You've just got to allow it some time. For example, this person here with varicose veins, you can see in the image I showed you before that ASEA Redox improves cardiovascular health. Here you can see improvements to the elasticity of those veins, but it's also going to take some time. I don't want you to think that a problem that's taken 45 years in the making can be fixed in 2 days. We are looking at permanent, lasting results, cellular regeneration, and that's going to take a little bit of time. It can be a few weeks, it can be a few months. I say to everybody, you're going to see shifts and improvements in your body in 3 months. So make sure you give your body 3 months. People say to me, I want to try the product and see how it goes. To be honest, the molecule is not on trial. 20,000 studies tell us that the molecule works. It's working in your body right now. So the molecule, it's not on trial. What's on trial is just our bodies. How long is it going to take? It's going to start working from the moment it hits your body. And it's up to you if you are willing to see that change and transformation through. You can see here one of my osteopath friends in France using it in her therapies. We have a lot of health practitioners working with us. The circulation returning to this lady's hands. You can see the wonderful shifts when people have things like, I'm not going to name diseases, but skin conditions of all sorts of different types. If the skin is not looking good, if it's not doing what it ought to, it's probably a sign that there's something on the inside as well that's out of balance. So we always recommend take the drink to restore that balance and use that gel externally. But it's super exciting to see it in use. And look, here on the right-hand side is a picture of my son's foot. He needed oral antibiotics to deal with an infection that he had from a puncture wound that we'd let go. And overnight, I applied the gel over and over, and we were able to see, we were able to actually avoid the oral antibiotics. I'm not suggesting you need to do the same, but he fell asleep before I could give them to him. And in the morning, we no longer needed them because that wound, what should have taken a week, actually happened in a night. Again, not everybody gets hair growth, but sometimes it happens. It's just wonderful what happens when you give the body the tools that it needs. This final image here is from my own mum. We won't tell her, but she's started to use it on her neck, and very quickly she was able to see, look, it's not just changes on the lines, and the wrinkles, I guess. It's not just changes like that. You can actually see changes to sunspots and skin discoloration and just damage. Again, what I'm trying to show you is this technology works. You can see it visibly over the skin. It's going to do its job internally as well. If you want to find out more about how it's working internally, please jump onto our Facebook groups. It really is exciting, and you don't have to be sick to see these shifts. We have athletes all around the world, even at the Olympic level, seeing shifts in their performance, seeing shifts in their endurance, their energy, their stamina, and of course their recovery because they're finally able to do something that no vitamin, no prescription medication can do, and that is increase the cell signaling, the cell health right at the core. So how do we reach the world? Let me take a quick drink. In these last few minutes, I want to share with you why it is that you're hearing this from me and not from another source like a doctor, for example. When this technology was stabilized, when they made this molecule, they realized straight away they had something very special in their hands. You know, this is not, as I said before, not just a new product. I see so many things and so many wonderful things, you know, vitamins, minerals. I take those as well. But when I understood what redox was, when the penny dropped, my first thought was, why doesn't everybody know about this? When I saw my dad's transformation come off all his medication one by one, when I saw the shifts in my children's skin, when I saw what it was doing for me with my stretch marks, I thought, how come this isn't in every house everywhere? Well, that's the same question that Vertus Norton and his son Tyler asked from Utah when they were trying to make a decision about how to bring this to the world. Now, they went down the pharmaceutical route initially. It seemed like the obvious choice, but the pharmaceutical company put some very strict conditions around this, and they did offer them a lot of money that a lot of people would have taken, quite honestly. But at the time, there were people in clinical trials getting better, and these people were terminally ill, were very, very sick. And Vertus and his son, who come from incredibly successful backgrounds, head of Kraft Foods strategically, Tyler also at the head of Fortune 500 companies. This wasn't about the money for them. This was really about bringing a breakthrough, leaving a legacy. And they decided that through the pharmaceutical route, through the offer that they were made, this technology may never see the light of day. They went and did some studies, and they realized very quickly when they gave this product to people, those people ended up talking about it and passing it on. And in a very short time, their little focus group that they had of, I think it was 40 families, had transferred the product organically to 120 families in 21 different countries around the world. Obvious word of mouth was the best and most effective channel to bring this to the world. I'm personally incredibly grateful that this decision was made, because that in itself is also groundbreaking. This is the very first time that a market shift, that a breakthrough of this significance has been brought to the market by the market. I'm so pumped to be able to participate in this. And if you're looking at this commercially, you may not in your lifetime see an opportunity to be part of something this significant. We're currently, I need to update these figures, I say that every time. We're currently in about 36 countries and expanding. Last year we did 150 million we grew by 50% last year. We ended up at 150 million. The company's debt-free, it's privately owned, forecast to hit the $1 billion turnover, yearly turnover in the next 3 to 5 years. And yet hardly anyone knows about it. To me, that signified an opportunity. I was, at the time that I started seeing this product work in my family, I was stuck in a job I didn't like, not making enough money, working hideous hours, not having enough time with my children. I was a single mum at the time. And, quite honestly, I won't go into the whole detail, but I was just financially struggling, and also I was just sick of it. I had been approached by lots of different things, and I was always interested in health. But when people came to me and said, hey, would you like to come and help us sell this vitamin or be part of this awesome protein powder? I was kind of thinking, I don't want to sell something that people can get everywhere. I don't want to be having to show you a vitamin, a goji berry, when you can buy it at the shops already. Man, that sounds like hard work. What I did want to be part of is a significant breakthrough. I realized really quickly that ASEA Redox was not like anything else on the shelf. I was talking to a gentleman in Spain recently, and he has a sunglass business. And I asked him, what's your biggest challenge? He's got beautiful sunglasses. He said, to our business, it's competition. There's so many great companies out there also making quality glasses. I asked him, what would it be for him? What would it signify for him if he could be the only person in the world, the very first and only person to have the sunglass? He laughed, he said, well, that would be incredible. If we were the only person in the world selling sunglasses, that would be pretty crazy. That is truly the positioning that we have with this product. We are the only in the world, and yet we are fanning out everywhere right now, bringing this technology, breaking into new markets, but there's only one place to get it, and it's with us. So this is truly the chance to be part of a significant market breakthrough. In my previous industry, I was always, as I said, racing against competition, and I had dreams, things I wanted to do with my family. I wanted to help my parents with their home. I wanted the chance to be able to do, to give away and to do charity work instead of having to work a job. I wanted to have creative projects I wanted to bring to life. But also I just had small dreams, like being able to go into a shop and not be watching the dollars as I bought the food I really wanted to buy, or fill up the car and not be worried about it, not be thinking, well, should we go to the beach? It's this much fuel. I just wanted to live a life of choices, and I knew that I had to do something a little bit drastic to do that. So for us, this was the chance. I can't go back and be part of, Google and Facebook or the beginning of Apple, but I can right now position myself to be at the beginning of Redox. This is a breakthrough science with zero competition. There's absolutely no risk because there's not a demand of investment. You open an account for the low cost of $40 US, 60 Australian dollars. So I was risking nothing, and yet I knew that I could reach the world because I'm not looking for a minority. With this technology, what I'm looking for is everybody with a cell, everybody living with toxicity, anybody who's aging, anybody with the willingness to invest into their health. It's a simple product range. I do not want to be part of something with 500 products. We have a drink and a gel and a few supporting products. I wanted to be part of something where the compensation plan was strong. I sat down with people like you can, whoever invited you to listen to this can sit down with you and go through the numbers in the most transparent way. If I'm going to put time and effort into something, I want to know what's on the table. It's the right moment in the market. But this isn't a fad that just started yesterday. The company's strong, debt-free, been running for 9 years. It's perfectly positioned. And of course, I had the freedom to develop this my own way, from home, in any which way that I wanted. Yes, it is a direct sales business. Recommendation is the key, really, to any business. But I can also operate it with my entrepreneurial muscles getting flexed every day. I can think laterally. How can I connect with people? How can I connect with people in the health industry? How can I connect with business people and entrepreneurs? I've had some wonderful conversations today with different people around the world. None of them knew about this technology. And that is the reason why our family decided to literally change direction with what we were doing. And in the space of a few short months, I was able to shut down my company and literally spend now my time doing something that is personally satisfying and financially rewarding. I don't know what's important to you, and if you're here looking at this for health, that's great. There's really only one thing to do. Get these molecules into your system. You can look at all the science, you can look at all the information. Please do. I encourage you to go to useful resources, knowing that Google is not a research engine, it's a search engine. There's actually people on there who still believe the world is flat. You can find anything on Google. Go to the scientific papers and Google Redox. This molecule is well understood. So try the product. Get the molecules into your system. There's no risk. They're already in your body. It's a very simple way to do that. You connect with the person who sent you this recording or who plugged you into this live workshop and ask them to open you an account. And you do not need to go through the pharmaceutical chain. You do not need to go through your doctor, because there's zero toxicity. You can order it straight to your home, and great. It's going to be a fantastic experience. Give yourself and your body 3 months. If you're looking at this commercially, my final word would be to explore what it is that you want to achieve in the next 2 to 5 years. Honesty is really hard, and when I looked at the next 2 to 5 years for myself, I wasn't looking at anything exciting. I was looking at basically groundhog years, every year, one after the other, just a hamster wheel of frustration. Wasn't moving forward. I had to face up to it. If that is you, then I'd like you to ask yourself the honest question. Are you willing to do something about it? Because quite frankly, I don't think you're going to see an opportunity like this one, coupled with an incredible product, a sensational company, a fast-growing team, the right time in the market, and most importantly, the personal satisfaction to wake up every day and actually do something that matters, like actually do something that changes lives. That is a wonderful way to live. That is a significant way to make a living. All right, so I am going to stop the recording, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.